Welcome back to the Graces of Catholic Education podcast. Today, I am thrilled to have Dr. Christopher Pugliese with me. I've known Chris for quite a few years now through his dedicated involvement with the Monsignor Bonner and Archbishop Prendergast golf team, where he was a coach since 2020, and he even accompanied the team, including my son Tommy, on an unforgettable trip across the pond to Ireland. A product of Archdiocesan schools himself, Chris spent nearly 3 decades in public education as a teacher, assistant principal, and district director before returning to his roots in 2023 to teach history and psychology at his alma mater, Bonner and Prendy. Now, he's taken on an exciting new role as the principal of St. Dominic School in Philadelphia. Known for his easygoing nature, Chris is a remarkable role model for students and athletes alike, with a deep commitment to his faith, his family, and community service. I'm excited to dive into his journey, his vision for St. Dominic's, and how his faith shapes his leadership. Chris, welcome to the show. Hi, Philly faithful. My name is Maria Pardini, and welcome to the Graces of Catholic Education podcast, a place where grace shapes Catholic education one future saint at a time. The mission of this podcast is to build a faith-filled place for Philly's Catholic educators to share their faith, hear innovative practices for today's challenging classrooms, and be inspired by others who are tackling this wild and blessed ride of Catholic education. Join us as we explore the grace that guides us, informing the hearts and minds of Philly's future saints. Okay, Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good to see you in your new digs here at St. Dominic's.
Thank you.
I love it.
Excited to be here.
All right. So before we actually really get fully started on the show, I'd like to start with a prayer. That's
Sure.
okay with you.
Absolutely.
All right. So in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the gift of Chris Pugliese and agreeing for him to be on my new podcast that you have so graced. So I'm so appreciative of that. Thank you for helping Chris answer the call to come to Catholic education. We're so grateful for him. And we ask that you bless him in his new endeavor at St. Dominic's. And we also ask that we do everything in your name and through your Spirit. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So before we officially really get started, I always ask, we start every conversation on the Graces of Catholic Education podcast, like we start every conversation in Philly. Where did you go to grade school? Where did you go to high school? Where are you from?
Right on.
All right. So go for it.
I grew up in Drexel Hill, Delaware County, St. Bernadette's grade school. Same school my dad went to. So yeah, family tradition there. And then Monsignor Bonner High School.
A Bonner boy.
You got it.
All right. Will you share the year you graduated, or you don't want to let that cat out of the bag?
1990.
All right. You're younger than I am. A little younger than I am.
I don't look it though.
And so I love how you said, like, where your dad went to school, St. Bernadette. So in my trailer for the podcast, I talk about how I feel like legacy, Catholic education in the city of Philadelphia is really legacy. Like, it's just so cool that you could, go to the same school that your dad went to. Like, that's a phenomenon that I don't think a lot of places really get to experience.
No, I agree. And I'll add to that. Right. So we went to my sister and I went to St. Bernadette's, where my dad went to grade school. I went to Bonner. My dad went to Bonner. My sister went to Prendy. My mom went to Prendy. My mom's from St. Lawrence, so I have to give, Upper Darby, St. Lawrence. I have a little bit of that in my blood as well. But yes, I think that's a big deal in the Archdiocese, and different neighborhoods have different levels of that. But, it definitely has been a gift to have gone to those schools in the first place, and to also be following, family members, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins.
It's cool. So it is so cool. And I think you've just moved here to a new place, St. Dominic's. You're the new principal here.
Yes.
And that happens here too. So I think that that phenomenon is something that you can totally relate to. It's like a neighborhood feel.
Definitely. And I know that, I have known about that idea, when after Bonner, I went to St. Joe's University. So I stayed in the area and I played soccer there with guys who went to North Catholic and Father Judge.
Mhm.
And so I'm familiar with Archbishop Ryan as well. And so the idea of, the parish, the rivalries between the parishes and then the high school. So there's definitely a very similar feel to what
Yeah.
I'm used to growing up. It's a new group of people, a new community, new network, but very similar in the being in the archdiocese and also having that, that neighborhood
Yeah.
parish connection.
Yeah, I totally agree. They call Father Judge the Bonner of the North.
Really?
That's what I've heard. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know.
Well,
I mean, I think that the judge people would like to say they call Bonner the judge of the South,
yeah,
but
I've never heard that.
I heard that a couple years ago, and I've actually used that a couple times, and the judge people don't love it.
No.
So sorry, judge people, but that's what they say.
No, I'm excited. I know the couple of days that I've been here in the afternoon, a couple of the different corners. I mean, we're just a few blocks away from
Right.
Father Judge. So all the judge boys in their, in their summer uniform and the polos, and just, it has they were blue, they weren't green, but it had a very similar feel to what
Yeah,
you see down.
I know the hair actually kind of looks like a judge boy.
Thanks.
Like I think you have that look. I think you're going to fit in really well here.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. I
Yes,
hope
I'm
so.
sure you will. So talk to me a little bit about your journey growing up in those archdiocesan schools and how it shaped your perspective on education. You went into the public school system, but like what did your foundation of Catholic education really give you?
Yeah. Well, I'll say just beyond education as well, or I should say beyond my career in education, my Catholic education is just the foundation for my whole life. So everything that's important in my life starts with and comes from, Jesus, and certainly the great education I've had. So yeah, being in a neighborhood school, I mean, what can I say? I mean, my closest friends are guys I went to St. Bernadette's with and Bonner, and so the fact that my life has sort of been based on all that's just amazing, and I'm very fortunate. And certainly I've always loved school. I've enjoyed it, and that's why I got into teaching and why I'm in education and coaching. And being in those environments at St. Bernadette's and Bonner really got me to enjoy school. I love my teachers. I love the environment. I love the idea of learning. And so just being around it, I think was something that was fun, enjoyable, and also directly connected to my faith.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great answer. Did you have Father Atkinson at Bonner?
I did. Well, actually, let me say this. I was not in his class
Okay.
as a student. My aunt was good friends with his sister. So before I even got to Bonner, he knew who I was. We didn't know each other well, but he knew my name and he knew who I was. I ran for for class officer as a freshman. I was elected, and he was our moderator.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I spent 4 years as a class officer, and Father Atkinson helped us run the dances and fundraisers and do all. So I spent a lot of time with Father Atkinson. I wasn't a direct caregiver, but we spent a lot of time having meetings during the evening at the monastery and at school. So I got to know him very well.
Yeah.
And very fortunate to have had him as a friend and a mentor and just somebody who's.
It's so cool when you hear a lot. I know a lot of Bonner people from growing up with them in Havertown, but also when I taught at Bonner and Perenni also for a couple of years too. And just to hear people talk about Father Atkinson it's just such a cool thing to me. Like, I mean, he's going to be a saint. And like you can say you had direct access to a saint.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I helped him eat a sandwich on a number of occasions. And I'll say this, Maria, at the time when I'm thinking about back in high school, it wasn't so extraordinary. And maybe because I was a teenager and I didn't have all the life experience that I have now, but it wasn't so extraordinary what he was doing and the life he was living and what he had gone through. It didn't strike me. Later in life, as I went through challenges and experienced difficult situations, and then I would reflect on what Father Atkinson went through and the way he lived his life and the way he just fought those challenges with such optimism and positivity. It became an amazing inspiration and motivation.
Yeah.
So, and I say that in a sense as a compliment, because while you knew that he couldn't walk because you saw it, he didn't act as if he couldn't walk, right? He didn't, he just was, he was very, he would make fun of guys. He would give them a hard time. If, you know, he was a regular guy in so many ways.
Yeah.
And so that's what made him great, because he was very approachable. At the same time, as we know now, he was extraordinary.
Mhm.
You know, he lived a life and was so strong. But I love the way he describes, he wrote a poem,
Mhm.
and he borrowed the strength of others. You know, so the fact that, and that's a very Augustinian
Yep.
idea, in that, you know, the idea of community. And so, yeah, so he's been an inspiration, and, you know, what his family is doing
Yeah.
outside, and, you know, at Villanova, they're involved, and at Bonner Prendy, and in different, you know, just different initiatives. It's really cool.
It is really cool. And I think the coolest thing is, hopefully, prayerfully, when Pope Leo pulls the trigger and canonizes him. How awesome would that be?
So awesome. Now, for a while, with friends from different high schools, I would say, how many of you guys have a former Heisman Trophy winner as a graduate? Right. And none of them, I would, you know, that was the John Cappelletti. Well, now we're going to have a former Heisman Trophy winner and a Saint. There's no high school on the planet that can boast two alumni
That
such
is true.
prestigious accomplishments.
That is true. That puts Bonner and Prendy right up there.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope they're going to use this as publicity.
I hope so.
Yeah,
and I definitely think Pope Leo
and the Pope visited Bonner and Prendy.
Yeah, said mass.
Well, at Bonner. I guess it was just Bonner at the time.
I think it was 2004. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was, yeah.
Said mass.
Yeah, said mass. And he's in the yearbook.
Right.
I know. I remember when the Pope was announced, that picture like started appearing in all my Facebook feeds. Like, the Pope was at Bonner.
Yes.
That's just so cool too.
Very exciting. The whole, you know, right. The American Pope, an Augustinian Pope, someone who sort of definitely supports the cause. I think, I think it's going to help.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly not going to hurt. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the fact that you spent almost 30 years in public education. Is that correct?
Yeah. 27 years.
So what inspired you to transition you went back to Bonner Prendy? You retired, I'm assuming. So talk about that. And you were like, oh, I'm not just going to play golf all day. I gotta work.
Right. Still had some juice left and some energy to do the work. I always, when I started teaching, from the moment I started teaching, I always had in the back of my mind, what would it be like to go back to Bonner Prendy now? But it had such an amazing impact on my life. I got into the public school system and kind of got into a routine, and then it just, you know, kind of, that idea faded, but it didn't go away. 5 years ago, I got back involved through the coaching, the golf team.
Yep.
So I was connected through the golf team. I played golf there. The current coach was a mentor and a coach of mine. So I've been connected. And
Jack Lacken. Yes, big shout out to Jack Lacken.
That's right. Thank you.
God love him.
And when things in Upper Darby School District, which is where I worked, and I loved my time there, loved my experience. I'm so thankful for that. But I just got to the point where I was ready to do something different. And what I learned and what I knew at the time is that Bonner Prendy needed teachers, and Catholic schools in general need good teachers and administrators. So it was sort of a perfect place for me to go, in that I'd already been connected through the golf coaching situation. I was an alum. I love the place, and they needed a teacher.
There you go. It's a match made in heaven.
It was perfect.
Divine providence.
The timing was great, and I couldn't have enjoyed the experience there more than I did.
Yeah, I loved my time at Bonner Prendy too. I definitely really do believe that. I think each one of our Catholic schools, either elementary and high school, each one of them have such a distinct personality. They really do. And I loved the personality of Bonner and Prendy. I think that really, I went to Carroll and I loved it. It was great. But there was just something about Bonner and Prendy that I was like, yeah, it really just.
I agree.
Clicked.
What was really interesting for me is that it was my school, but it's not the same school
Right.
that I attended in 19 and graduated from in 1990, which I love.
Right.
I probably wouldn't have loved it as much had it been, more similar to what I remembered. And just in that, it's a new demographic, like a new group of students.
Mhm.
Plus it's a new time. We're in 2025, we're post pandemic, so were all kinds of parts that were new, but for me, it was still home.
Yes.
So it had that comfort and that familiarity that was awesome to be able to build on.
Yeah.
But the students were amazing, still are.
Yeah.
Staff was great. The community, reconnecting with alumni and the work that they're doing. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it is a special place. So how do you think your experience that you had in public schools is like informing your approach to Catholic education today?
That's a great question. But before, you and I were just talking about some of the support services and some of the ways that we identify and provide support to needy students. I think throughout my career, I've done a lot of work at different levels. I was the director of pupil services for a number of years. I learned a tremendous amount about special needs, about identifying students, but even more than just students with special needs, how to provide skills and support to all students. Because usually what we find, this from your expertise, the strategies that you put in place for a student, maybe with an IEP, that same strategy is going to work for a general education student. Maybe not as intensely or maybe not as frequently, but the basic concept is going to work for any student. So that's something that it was a really important takeaway for me from my experience in public education. So I think that type of work, I think, having served for 27 years, I consider myself a networker and a connector. So I have connections with different organizations and maybe different companies. So I think my goal would be to bring as many of those resources or as much of that knowledge here to St. Dominic's to be able to, support the students and the community here. So
Yeah.
there are a couple, I mean, hopefully there's more, but for now, there are a couple things that jump out as things from my experience in public education that will really transfer and help in this role.
Yeah, I was started in public education too, because I was a special ed teacher and there really wasn't a lot of opportunity for special education teachers within the Catholic school system. So I went the public school route too. And,
Okay.
I feel like it's been a blessing to have been started in public school and ending my career in Catholic school. I love that because I think that there are good things that are inherent to the public school system that people with a public school background can figure out a way to migrate them into Catholic education. Because I think that this blessing of Catholic education is so unique that we can pick and choose. We don't have to pick and choose everything because there's no way we would take everything in public education and bring it here.
Right.
But there are certain things that we can. And that phrase that you said, what works for the special ed kids works for the regular ed kid. I can't say that enough. Like I want to figure out a way to tattoo that on my forehead because that is so paramount. If we can just keep saying that over and over and over again.
Right. Well, and keep doing the work that you're leading to, the UDL work, right? I mean, that's from my 2 years at Bonner Prendy, I know at least at the high school level, and I think across the archdiocese, that's an approach that we're taking. And that's what that is. It's identifying the individual student or students in front of you. What are their preferences? What are their strengths? Giving them different opportunities to receive the information teachers are teaching and then demonstrate what they're learning. So yeah, amen to that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Amen.
There was one other thing that you mentioned that I wanted to say. Oh, yes. With respect to all those years in public education and how those skills and that learning transfers. I think what I'm feeling, it's early. I've just started my second week, but I'm feeling I have so much to learn about the elementary archdiocese or an elementary level.
Yeah.
I've served as an elementary principal in a public system, which was great. So there's going to be things there that transfer. There's a roundabout way of saying I know I have so much to learn, but I feel confident all that experience and the knowledge that I have from my previous career, a lot of it is going to be, I'm going to be able to draw from it and tap into it to help me answer questions and navigate the learning at this new level.
Amen.
This new role.
Yeah. It's just a wealth of information that you do benefit from in that public school system. And I just think that has been a blessing for me in my job, that I can take the pearly nuggets that we got in public education. So, I worked with incredible people in public education. I mean, some of the best teachers I've worked with were our public school teachers.
Sure.
I talk about that in my trailer. Like, they helped form me to be the teacher. Some of the skills that I learned in public education, I use to this every day in Catholic education. So I think that's a good, kids are kids.
Definitely.
And when you learn how to teach kids, you learn how to teach kids. So
yes.
I definitely think it's good to have that background. Okay, so you said you've held some various roles in education: teacher, principal, district person, district director. Which was the most rewarding and why?
At the time, I loved every role and I enjoyed every role. But when I look back, I think the most rewarding work I've done throughout my career is the work that I was doing to directly support teachers, classroom teachers. I was able to do that, as a principal. That's a primary responsibility, to supervise and support teachers. But thankfully, I was also able to do some of that as a district director, because we were implementing a program where we were coaching classroom teachers specifically on building stronger relationships with their students. So it was just a relational skills program that gave me a chance to, again, be working directly with teachers. So I would say that and not so much a position that was most rewarding, but the most rewarding work that I've done, at least in my administrative career, is the work directly supporting classroom teachers, because I did my dissertation on that work. I recognize the more support we provide the classroom teachers, the better support they can provide to students. And so I see myself as an administrator. My job isn't to directly support students. I mean, I'm here to help students, but my primary role is to make sure that teachers have everything they need to be their best, so that they can help students have everything they need to be their best.
That's awesome. And I hope that your teachers are listening to this, because they're going to be so happy to hear that. I really, as a former teacher myself, just hearing someone say that they think that that's their direct responsibility is, that's going to go a long way.
It took me a while. I know that, it took me a while to come to that sort of realization, but once it became clear to me, and that became sort of my mission, or what I realized my responsibility was, it wound up making the work so much more rewarding. So I'm excited to bring that concept and that idea to the St.
And we're doing a lot of professional developments with our principals too, to help them increase their ability to be the educational leader within their own school. So there's a lot of you entered the Archdiocese at a really good time.
I love it.
And I think we're going to feed something in you, and you're going to feed something in us.
Yes.
I think it's going to be great, because we're doing a lot of work on coaching. One of my personal goals is to figure out how to get coaching for the principals, and then the principals encourage them to become, coaches for. They can't all coach. You can't coach every single teacher in your building all year long, but we are really, really working with a lot of independent outside agencies to help us help you help your teachers.
Well, that's an amazing point, and I'm glad you emphasized that too, because being a building principal or an assistant principal is it can be very hectic, and the daily or even the throughout the course of the day, the emergencies and the urgent issues that arise that can get in the way of that classroom support can be very distracting. And so not only I see it as my role or as my responsibility as a principal, but as a principal, I can only do as much as the system above me helps support. So it's not just that the teachers rely on me or the principal, but then the principal relies on the outside support. So if everybody's clicking and thinking about it that way, then you can really make a difference. Whereas you can't if one part of that system is saying, well, no, we have to focus on these things over here. And it's all important. Every
Right.
part of it's important. There's nothing that anybody's asking you to do that's not important. It's just a matter of creating a structure and a culture that emphasizes that kind of support. So I'm glad you're saying that.
Yeah.
And I know from the last 2 years teaching at Bonner Prendy that coaching is an emphasis. And I love the fact that at least at the secondary level, colleagues are doing some of that coaching, department heads, other classroom teachers, because that's where you can really get some amazing support as well. Certainly administrators have the supervisory experience, but classroom teachers who are peers can give you a type of feedback that is very valuable as well. So
Yeah.
love that aspect. The now you're going to remember the name of the group that led the professional development back in the spring. They were
Oh,
fantastic.
yeah, for the secondary.
Yes, they were
Yes,
fantastic.
it's funny, that name escapes me too, and I had the opportunity. I would not normally have gone to that because I'm elementary, but I had guests in from, Denver. I was in a program a couple of years ago at Notre Dame called the Program for Inclusive Education, and it was
Okay.
one of the ACE leadership initiatives,
Oh,
the Alliance
nice.
for Catholic Education at Notre Dame.
Okay.
So I can't push Notre Dame enough. From a Penn State perspective, I don't say anything about their sports, but their educational leadership programs
Oh, nice.
and all of the ACE programs at Notre Dame are incredible. They're awesome. So anyway, I had people that I met through that program. They came to see Philadelphia. So they were secondary. So it just so happened that the day they came was a professional development day. And I was like, well, I mean, there's no high schools I could take them to.
Right.
So I was like, well, and the professional development was all on UDL.
Yep.
And it was really, really good.
They were
Yeah,
awesome.
it was really good.
It was, and I told a bunch of people this. I've been part of a lot of professional development in my time. I've led them as well as received them. That was one of the best days I've experienced, from the organization of it, the theme, which was very consistent and common. They had teachers. You worked with an outside consultant or figured out TLS or something.
I
Is that
can't
right?
remember.
They were
I'll
great.
figure it
But
out.
yeah, so just the way the whole day went, as well as the content itself. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome. So let's try and transition a little bit here to your role and your vision at St. Dominic's, because now we're not secondary anymore.
Right.
We are elementary.
Right.
And that is its own little unique future saints that you have running around here. Because, you have like little babies here. You have, is there pre-K here? Any
Yes.
pre-K? Okay, so we have
Yes.
pre-K to 8th grade.
That's right.
Oh boy. Okay. So, what do you think you're going to bring to the leadership role and opportunity here at St. Dominic's? Like, what are you bringing?
Right. Relationships are fundamental to my leadership style, my life in general. And so for me, that's what everything comes down to. For me, the most important thing is to build strong connections with the human beings I'm serving. And that's, from the individual students to their classroom teachers, to the support staff, to the families, a larger community. So yeah, that's the first part, and the most, the thing that is most important initially for me, because I know when there's a strong relationship between a principal and a teacher, or a teacher and a student, or a parent and a child, more work can get done, more quality work can get done. People forgive you when you make a mistake. People are honest with you. They're vulnerable, all the things that are good in a classroom or in a work setting. So that's the initial part, is to be here, first of all, to build relationships, and also to learn. Everybody who's part of the school community knows more about it than I do. I'm starting to learn, but I'm here to learn as much as I can about why this place is so special, why people love it as much as they do. I mean, I've been very impressed and inspired by people in different parts of the community, some of the students I've met, and the parents and family members, about how much they love the place.
They
So I'm
do.
curious. I'm very excited to learn. Why is it? What is it about the place that's so exciting? I'm not starting to learn, but
Right.
so they're I would say they're the two key pieces of what I'm going to bring to leadership, hopefully throughout my time here,
Mhm.
but certainly to start, building strong relationships, getting to know people, getting to understand what they need to be their best, providing that, and also to just learn about the culture of the school, the parish, and the community to make it the best it can be, to help it
Yeah.
thrive.
Our executive assistant to the superintendent in the office of OC, Jeannie.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
she's a member of this parish.
Yeah.
Was she on the interview committee?
She was.
Yeah,
Yes. We've
I
met
thought
a couple
so.
times in person,
Yeah.
and yeah, she's wonderful.
And she loves this place.
Yeah.
I mean, she went to school here. I think. Did she go to school here? I don't know. I don't know if she.
Yeah,
went to
I'm
school
not
here, but
sure.
she's a member of this parish,
now.
and she just loves it. And
I know.
yeah, she's very excited about you. I just told her yesterday I was
That's
interviewing
nice.
you, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, tell me I said hello."
Well, I'll say this: when I was here, one of the first times I was here, Father Connolly, our pastor, brought me over to see the church, and I took one step inside. I was stunned how beautiful it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I've never been in the church.
oh my goodness!
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll have to go over.
Yeah.
We're in Delaware County. We're used to, for the most part, churches were built around a similar time, a similar architecture, and they're beautiful, but they're similar. This church was built in 1874. Yeah, and so it's very unique, and it's again, it's stunning. Yeah, it's stunning. So that's one unique part of the parish. And then I do my best. I'm a connector. So I'm always talking to people. And so you start realizing the number of people who went to the school. Well, our chaplain and one of the nuns at Bonner Prendy both went to school here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so at the end of the school year, when I was announcing, they came up to me and they said, that's my school. I went to school there. So, you start to realize once you start making the connection, and this is a place that has a lot of tradition.
Yeah.
And people love it. And so I'm excited to keep learning more about it and help building on it.
Yeah. So I'm sure you will have great success at that. So what's your vision for St. Dominic's? Like, what do you see coming out of St. Dominic's?
We're going to grow. We're going to bring families who maybe aren't sure about where maybe they were here and they're not sure. We're going to bring families back. We're going to get families who are, new to the neighborhood, uncertain about what school to attend. We're going to make sure that this is, at the top of their list. We're going to promote the great things that we're doing as a school. I know that. I've met the staff as a group once, and now talking with people individually. We have great teachers who love students. Mm-hmm. So definitely building on the things that have gone well here, building on the traditions that are successful and that bring joy to the place. We're going to continue to do that, and also grow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and do new things, do more things. We're going to reinstitute a home and school association. We're going to have that be, a thriving organization that's going to bring more, family involvement.
Yeah, you have to have that. Parents that's one of the reasons why parents send their kids to Catholic school, because they want to be involved. Mm-hmm. I talk a lot when I do my special ed role, and I say, in Catholic school, we ask and need parents to be partners in their child's education. Yes. I don't think that happens as much in public school. I don't, for whatever reason, good or bad, that's not something that they promote in public school. But we here in Catholic school need our parents to be partners in their child's education. Like right. we can't function without parental support. And our faith teaches us that parents are the very first teachers of the faith to their children.
Absolutely.
And you can't really survive without a home and school association.
And thankfully, in a school like St. Dominic's, there is involvement, right? Mm-hmm. Parents are making a sacrifice in a number of ways, financially and otherwise, to send their children to a school like this. So from the beginning, we know we have families who are invested mm-hmm. in the process and invested in making it successful. And it's funny, at one point when Father Connolly and I were talking, and I had accepted the position, and I said, we're going to do great work at St. Dominic's. And he said, Chris, God's going to do the work through us. And I said, okay, all right, I'll take that. Yes.
That's right. That's
very excited to do great work, give glory to God through what he is allowing us to do here at St. Dominic's.
I know. It's funny that it's a different mindset shift sometimes when you come into Catholic education. You're like, yeah, that is true. And you don't always think of that because we didn't have that luxury to be able to, we might have thought like that when we were in public ed, but we couldn't say it out loud. And now we can just freely talk about that.
Yeah.
Like it makes the job so much easier when you get to talk about the reason for the job.
Well, not only can we freely talk about it, it's part of our job to talk about. Like, they're paying us to talk. That is why we're here, right? But
Yeah.
you're right. I do. I'm glad you mentioned that because I've always felt, not always felt. I mean, I've always been motivated, influenced, inspired by God. Everything that I do, but certainly in a public setting, you have to temper that and just be careful of how how you say that.
Right.
And so my returning or at least starting at Bonner Prendy a couple of years ago, it was a really freeing sort of feeling to now be able to not just be, it's not just okay to be saying I'm Catholic and how important my faith is. It's part of my job. My daily responsibility is to promote that.
Right.
So, that's exciting to be able to do.
I always say we have 16,000 hours from kindergarten to 12th grade to get these kids to heaven.
There you go.
And that is really our job. I mean, yes, we have to educate them. We want smart kids in heaven, but we want kids in heaven first. And that's really what our job is. And that's why this podcast kind of came about, to give people the vehicle to just be able to encourage each other and talk about what our job really is in Catholic education.
Yes. And I think if we're building and strengthening the faith of our students, and we're strengthening their character, and we're strengthening the way they love and treat themselves, and then the way they love and treat others, right? These are all also skills that are going to help them be successful in life. When it comes down to them having relationships with other people or looking for a job and staying successful, all of these things are tied together. So when we're doing one thing right in terms of preparing them for heaven, we're also helping them be successful while they're here and as they grow and develop. So,
exactly.
Yes, I love it.
So you mentioned home and school. Is there anything else? How do you plan on collaborating with families to help support that student success plan that you have in place for them?
Right. I'm open in terms of, whether you want to call it open door, call, text, email. I know that parents and families, as you mentioned, so I won't go into too much detail beyond what you said, how important it is. It's critical that families feel, not even feel, families are heard and valued as the support that we need them to be.
So this is 11:15 now.
Oh,
This is, you know what this is?
Yeah.
You know what this is?
11. Yeah, Lily.
That's right. It's our, so we'll just say, Father Atkinson, pray for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was my
Really
little prayer. The only alarm that I let go through.
So great.
So
I love it.
That's it.
She's doing great. Love
Yeah, she is doing great. Yeah, she is.
Work she's doing with the community the Father Atkinson Service Corps.
Yes.
Oh, and that's so great.
I know. You could have her here as a guest speaker.
We will have
Yes,
her here.
there you go.
That's great.
Yeah, she goes out to schools and talks to kids about their faith and tough times, obviously.
Yes.
And yeah, she's awesome. Her and Megan, her mom, they come and they talk to Villanova, they talk to Malvern, they talk to tons of great schools. So yeah, so get her on your roster.
So great.
Yeah.
I met her uncle last summer on the golf course, and he's a great guy. And so yeah, making all the connections. So all right, we'll do that.
All right. So what do you think the most challenging part about being a principal of a grade school is going to be? Now, you were a principal before of a grade school, right?
I was, yes, on 2 occasions, yes. And interesting, right, I served in 2 elementary schools that one was very large, about 700 students. The other one was much closer to St. Dominic's size. So I'm familiar with a school this size as well, which feels good for me. Like, I'm comfortable with that. The greatest challenge?
Yeah.
Well, I think the good news is there are a lot of great things that have been happening here at St. Dominic's. Mm-hmm. And so it's not as if there's any situation that's, a crisis or any, there's great stuff to build on. Certainly there are, and I'm learning areas to improve. Enrollment is one of them. We want to see as many new students join. We've got room, we've got space. We want to be able to support and serve more students.
And it'll all be linked in the show notes. So when you want to register in the fall, it's not too late,
no,
right?
Absolutely not.
St. Dominic's will be listed right there in the notes.
Right.
You're able to click on and register.
I know we're working on another challenge. This is a unique parish in that it's a cemetery parish.
Oh, right.
And so there's lots of grass, but not a lot of free grass for kids to play. So we're working on what's the best way to arrange. Is there a space where we can find some, some outside space? So we're that's an idea. That's something that,
All right, I like it.
so there's some new ideas. And I know but we have the parish hall is beautiful. Recently redone. So I'm still, and I'm also open to hearing what people want to see happen. We're
going to put your email in the show notes too. So families and parishioners, whomever, if they have a suggestion,
great,
that they can reach out to you.
Great.
So looking ahead, what excites you the most about St. Dominic's?
The relationships that I'm excited to build, like meeting the families. We've had 2 events so far, meet and greet, where families have been able to come in, and we've been able to meet each other. And they were great, but they were in May and June, and some people are away, and so I was able to get to meet some, which was fantastic. I'm excited to just continue to meet new families, to get to know them as families, to get to know their children. What is it that they need to be at their best? How can we work together to support the school and the community? So that for me, and that's the most exciting part of education in general for me, is the people. The actual, like, building connections with people, watching students grow, whether it's as a teacher in the classroom or as a principal or as a golf coach, making those connections and watching students do the things that they love, struggle at things, which is part of life, fail and make mistakes and then learn from them and get better. So that's what's most exciting.
Yeah, we don't learn a lot from our successes. I think we learn a lot more from our failures.
Absolutely. The most successful people are always, and they fail a lot because that's how they learn. So I agree. There's no question about that.
Yeah. So you mentioned coaching. So you've coached the Bonner and Prendy golf team since 2020. Was that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So how has coaching helped with your relationship building with students? I mean, I think I know the answer to that, but.
Well, right. So when you, as a teacher or as a principal, you're working with students in a school setting, working with students outside that setting is, you get to see them in a different context, which is exciting. For me, I love golf. So now you get to work with students in an area that's just like a passion of mine as well. So you see what they're good at, you see what their strengths are, and then how can you work together to help them improve. It's a lot like teaching in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it's, because it's outside the classroom, there's a different feel to it. This, Tommy went to Ireland. We were able to take our golf team to Ireland.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
So we've had amazing experiences. So we've been able to provide, and that, I'll say this, thanks to the alumni at Bonner Prendy and the staff and Jack Lacken, our head coach, and St. Malachy's, the school from Belfast. So and
they're coming here.
They are coming in September. We're excited. So to have an opportunity to take 10 high school golfers to Ireland and visit Ireland and tour and play golf there.
And you saw a football game.
And we saw that's right. We saw
we saw 2 football games.
Right.
Yeah.
Bonner Prendy played the exhibition game, and we saw Navy play Notre Dame. So to have opportunities like that and to be welcomed into Irish homes, we had Irish families host us when we were there. So the coaching, to be able to have opportunities like that and to get to know the players in that context and their families, it's a pretty special gift.
Yeah, I think it's when you travel with a team, with kids as a coach, you get to know them intimately.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's great. It's a great experience for them. It's a great experience for the chaperones. It's stressful though.
Yeah.
And you were it was a little bit more stressful because Jack was sick. Right. Unfortunately, couldn't make the trip across the pond.
Right.
So you and Joe Coyne kind of stepped up to the plate and were like, all right, we'll go.
You're right.
Yes.
Big credit to Joe Coyne, right? One of our parents who served as a coach.
Oh, God. He's definitely going to get a big head.
Oh,
we'll never hear the end of this.
Too late for that. But we wound up, it worked out great. It was a lot of fun. And thankfully, our coach got through that health issue and is doing great today. And so, I personally, as the coach and the adult, talk about it like I'm a kid. When I tell people the story and what we were able to do, and so my guess is all of us, the 10 of us that went, will be telling that story for the rest of
Oh,
our
yeah. I mean,
lives.
it definitely bonds you together with those kids. When you travel with kids,
Yeah,
even if it's not a coaching experience, just I think educational travel is so important. Tommy's gone more places. Passport has been stamped more than mine.
that's
So he went
great.
to Ireland, he went to Italy. Next year, he's going to the island of the Azores. I don't even know where the island of the
Oh,
Azores
the
is.
Bonner Prendy trip.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
McShane. That's right.
Mr. McShane.
Awesome.
Yes. Who Mr. McShane will definitely be a future guest on this podcast.
Have to
Yeah.
have him on.
He's a legend.
Yes.
So tell me, how do you think, because I think we're probably on the same wavelength with this, how do you feel teaching is like coaching and coaching is like teaching?
Oh, yeah. Well, very similar for me. I mean, my approach is similar in this regard. I believe, and I take this approach as a principal too, in terms of supporting teachers. Right. I believe in called servant leadership, in the sense that it's my responsibility as a teacher, as a coach, or a principal to get to know the individual I'm serving, and that whether that's a player or the student, and by getting to know his or her strengths, preferences, where are they performing right now? How can I meet them where they're performing right now? How can together, in a collaborative way, how can we set a goal for the next step? So what are we working on? I mean, and if we're talking about golf, like school, it's so complicated. There's so many different things to be working on. Maybe we're working on the short game, right? So how can we very specifically talk about what steps are the next steps to take to improve? And even, I say short game, but even within the short game, we're talking about chipping or putting so to work individually with students, with players, understand where they're performing now, figure out where they want to go, and collaboratively come up with a plan for what the goal is, and then the actual steps to get there. So, and I think the best teachers are doing that. I think the best coaches do that. I think the best principals and leaders are doing that. The best CEOs, the best parents and guardians are doing that. It's understanding the person you're serving, working together, certainly pushing and encouraging and motivating, and be ready for failure, be ready to learn from that failure, be ready to move on.
Yes.
So I think these, is that it help?
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, I love hearing you speak like that because, I've had two boys and both of them are blessed with the gift of athleticism. So coaches have always been, and I was a coach too. Coaching has always been part of our family vernacular. It's always been in there. And so I also think that I'm very choosy about the coaches that I give my kids to.
Okay.
And I can't say enough about the Bonner golf team, about you, Jack, Costa, Hank,
Coach Shannon.
It's just, I interviewed for one of the episodes here, the Philly Faith Legends. I interviewed Joe DeBarberi, who was the Bonner baseball coach.
Absolutely.
Barry Kirsch, who was my coach at Carroll. Well, he didn't coach me, but he was my teacher at Carroll. He coached Carroll boys basketball. I mean, he taught at Carroll for 52 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's coached basketball there, football there, girls basketball and boys basketball. But I could listen to good coaches talk all day long, because even though they all say the same thing, they say it in just a way that it draws you in. It's yes, listening to a good coach talk about those types of relationships with their kids. I mean, my kids have been blessed with the coaches that they've had, and I appreciate everything that you've done. And
thank you.
Yeah.
I love that you're saying that too. And coming back with a credit to you as well, a coaching or a teaching relationship is two-sided, right? It's not just about a coach who's an expert, knows everything, and tells that player what to do. There's a give and take. There's listening, receiving information, but also contributing to the process, doing the work, right? The best players are doing the work, but they're also contributing to the process, meaning they're not just listening all the time.
Right.
And I'm not saying that in a sense that they're not respectful, but
there's a give and take. It has to be.
What they say about the best patients, right? For doctors, the best patients are patients who are actively involved in their medical process, right? They're not just listening to everything. They're paying attention. Because coaches are human, doctors are human, teachers are human. We make mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
but the player or the coach who's really paying attention and is locked in on, what we're doing is going to pick up on a mistake and maybe question and say, well, I don't think that's what we want to do. I think it's this. And so when there's that back and forth, now you have a relationship that's
Yes.
very strong.
I love it.
Yes.
So last question about coaching. What do you want your teams to be known for?
First, character. That's like the most important thing. I want other teams to walk away saying, they had high character, right? They were honest. They played hard. They played the right way. So I think character, and also, I would say, whether it's, I don't know the exact word, but, intensity or determination. Those two things, I think, are the two characteristics that I would want a team I'm associated with to be known for.
All right.
Character first, and then the skill and the determination to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you have those two things together, it's a good mix.
It certainly is. It certainly is. So let's kind of go back into a little bit about Catholic education and the St. Dominic's community. What do you want the St. Dominic's community to know about you and your faith?
As I mentioned earlier, right, that my faith is, fundamental to everything in my life, right? There's nothing that's more important, because everything that I have that's good in my life, family and friends and any kind of success or anything good that's happened, is because of, my belief in God and Jesus. And so my faith is an important part of that. And I would like people to recognize that and to know that I see myself as, well, I should say it this way. I mentioned the servant leadership.
Mm-hmm.
That's the approach. And for me, Jesus is the perfect model of servant leadership. I mean, he recognized the people in front of him. He knew what they needed, and he gave them what they needed. And it was different. He wasn't working with or supporting everybody in the same exact way.
Right.
So I think my belief in servant leadership comes from. It was so interesting because it's a popular and a common term in leadership circles everywhere, in public schools.
Right.
But when you really read it, it comes from a Christian Catholic background. The idea of servant leadership, it comes from, I'm not saying only Jesus, but really a lot of references you'll see point to Jesus as being the model of servant leadership. So I've always felt like kind of good that I could be talking about servant leadership in public education and still be doing
That's funny. I didn't really know it was like a prevalent thing in public education.
Servant leadership?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it really came out through my doctoral studies.
What was your dissertation topic? What was it?
I studied how teacher-student relationships influence teacher well-being. So there's all kinds of work that was done on how strong teacher-student relationships are good for students.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was able to find is that they're also really good for teachers. When teachers have strong connections with their students, the students are more successful. Teachers feel more effective. They enjoy their work more. When you enjoy your work more, you're better at it. So
yeah, I never really thought about it from that perspective.
Right.
That's really interesting. Oh, I like that.
Thanks.
So in terms of like how you impart your faith to the students that you're going to be serving, if you kind of had to pick like a parable or like a story to kind of illustrate a specific point to the kids here at St. Dominic's, which one would you pick?
Yeah. Well, thanks for asking. I love the prodigal son.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, my takeaway, each of the three characters is important that we learn from. The father, I would start with the father because I feel like gives such a great example of unconditional love. In that, his son is wasteful and immature, and when he returns, he doesn't think or mention any of that. He's just unconditionally happy to see the child that he loves, that he thought he lost. And so that's the first thing for me, the idea of unconditional love. And I'm so thankful that I've had from my parents to family members and just teachers and coaches. I've had a lot of experience with unconditional love.
Mhm.
So it's, it is easy for me because it's how I was raised. And so I'm just reflecting or sort of sharing what I've already experienced myself. Um, certainly the younger son, the brother who, wastes the inheritance and comes back, we can learn from him to think about our actions and think about, being more responsible with our decisions. At the same time, also recognize that when we do make mistakes, it's important to acknowledge them, which he did. He didn't run away and say, he came, sort of with his hat in his hand and said, "I'm sorry, and I understand if I'm not welcome back." But so I think those two parts from him are important. And then the other brother we can learn from as well, because he was frustrated and sort of jealous. Why is my brother getting this attention, even though he wasted the inheritance? And so it's important to understand that we don't always know all the details of another person's situation.
Yeah.
We should be hesitant to judge and to say that somebody else is getting more or getting something that's unfair. And we should really be more focused on ourselves. And what the father says to him is, you never left. I never worried about you. I've loved you all the time. Right. And so I think the other brother kind of projected and put some selfishness out there about himself onto his brother. But in reality, his father, I think, helped him see that he had the love from his father throughout. So,
yeah.
So I think there's a lesson.
And sometimes you don't realize that.
You don't realize that. And it's understandable. That's the thing. We sympathize with that character as well, because we all feel that way at times.
Mm-hmm.
We feel like we're being treated unfairly or there's an injustice. But when we stop and really think more carefully about it, maybe there's not. Maybe there is something else that makes sense about the situation.
Yeah.
So I think I love that, because I think we can take something away, or at least I can, and I take away something from all those characters in the story.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting when I come back next year in June or July. And in June, when I talk to one of your 8th graders and I ask about the story of the prodigal son, and they'll be able to tell me. So
I hope.
Yeah, I'm sure
so.
you'll be able to weave that into something.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. That's good. So what do you think the future is for Catholic education as a whole? Like, you're kind of new back into Catholic ed. What do you think? What do you see?
I love it. I mean, I think the number of families who are invested is not as important. I mean, it's important, but it's not as important as the actual investment itself. And I think that what I have found and my years, like the couple of years at Bonner Prendy, and I believe what I'm going to find here at St. Dominic's, is that the people who are investing in Catholic education are fully invested and they are all in. And I think that's where you win, when you find the people who are fully invested in what you're doing, who are aligned with your mission. And when you can connect with families like that and serve them, word gets out and people start to say, hey, they're doing great stuff at Bonner Prendy, or they're doing great stuff here at St. Dominic's. And so I think the future is very bright. And I'm excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Everyone has said, I asked that question a lot in the last couple of weeks that I've been doing this podcast, and everyone has really had a different take on it, but everyone has really said that the future of Catholic education is bright, and that's so reassuring.
Yes.
And I think that we can't say it enough. That's why part of this, the Holy Spirit, I think, pushed me to put this podcast in place, to let people know that the future of Catholic education is bright. And it's because people like you are coming and agreeing to serve. I mean, it's awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about the opportunity. I see it as a gift in so many ways. And if it's a good thing on both sides, right? if the schools are happy as well, then it's a great mix.
Yeah,
great combination.
It's a win-win.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about your personal life. Tell us what you like to do when you're not changing jobs or in your free time. What's your passion?
Well, we know about golf.
Yes.
Yes. Family's important. I have a 32-year-old daughter who is married and has 3 children. So
you're a grandfather. I didn't know that.
Yes, thank you.
So what do they call you?
Pop Pop.
Pop.
Yes.
Okay.
So they're awesome. So Kaylee's my daughter. Giovanna and Michael and Melina are the grandchildren. I have a son, Nick, who just finished his first year at St. Joseph's University. They're keeping the Catholic
The
education.
hawk will never die.
That's right. He's a golfer as well. Plays baseball, club baseball, St. Joe's.
Oh, cool.
And Stella, my daughter, graduated Cardinal O'Hara, and we'll be going to St. Joe's as well.
Oh, boy.
I have 2 at St. Joe's.
2.
So, yeah, spending time with my kids and family. We were very fortunate. We have a house down the shore in Seattle. So golf, listening to music. I love reading, spending time with friends, family.
Okay.
Very lucky. But
all right. We can learn a little bit more about you when I put you in the holy hot seat, which I'm about ready to do, unless you had any other big things that you wanted to say to St. Dominic's, or, I mean, you can wait till the end, but I want to make sure we covered everything you wanted to talk about.
No, just thank you so far. I mean, people have been so welcoming, so friendly. They made this beautiful sign for the first meet and greet with my picture on it. And the Catholic daughters had made cakes. And I couldn't have felt more welcome to start. So thank you for that. And
well, the Holmesburg Bakery is also a very good little treat.
Okay.
Teeny.
Yeah.
Turned me on to the Holmesburg Bakery if you ever need a little sweet treat.
I've driven past it. I know where it is, but I haven't stopped by it. Okay.
Best donuts around.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I would like to request people give me the best, restaurants. and I've gotten some requests so far, but this is a new neighborhood for me, so I'm excited.
The Ashburner.
Ashburn.
I've been to the Ashburner because I was
right.
at Father Judge, like when I would drop Jack off for baseball or something.
Okay.
Get a little
What's that?
Beverage at the Ashburner.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
It's an adult beverage place, right? And I saw the street. I was driving down here and I was like, oh, Ashburner.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yeah. It's a Father Judge hangout.
Cool.
So, yeah. All right. All right. So you ready for the holy hot seat?
I guess so.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So it's like, just rapid fire, easy questions.
Got it.
Not a lot of thought.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So are you a coffee or tea guy to start?
Coffee.
Coffee. Okay. How do you take the coffee?
I use a supplement, Phil Mickelson supplement. It's called, it has like collagen and Himalayan pink salt and that kind. Yeah. So no sugar, no cream.
Just a supplement.
This is a couple of years now. Yeah. So it's,
All right.
So it takes a little bit of the bite off.
Skin looks so beautiful. No,
Thank you.
Wrinkles. I like that.
Thank you.
Okay. Favorite saint to pray to?
St. Joseph.
Oh, there you go. All right. What was your best ever golf score?
Well, we were just talking about this. The best number, I shot a 74 once at Springfield, but my best round was a 79 at a place called Twisted Dune down the shore. So it's a little more difficult. It was like a better round of golf, so I'm going to qualify that.
Okay.
That's okay.
Did you ever have a hole-in-one?
Playing Paxton Hollow.
This is a simple yes or no question.
No, well, see, you have to answer it.
Or no. I mean, you either get a one or you not.
This is why I'm not, the ball went in the hole. But there were 2 holes on the hole. Like sometimes at a golf course, they cut out 2 holes so that they spread out the walking.
Yeah.
So the guys in front of us played the hole, put the flag back in the same hole instead of the other one.
Okay.
So I was aiming for the hole with the flag, but the ball went in the hole without the flag. So does that count as a hole?
No, absolutely
exactly.
not. It does not.
But I have to tell that story. It's a story to say just no.
That is a good story.
I can't just say no. I never had a hole in.
That is a good story to go with it. I agree.
But I know it's not helping the rapid fire.
No, it's all right. It is actually kind of fun.
I should just say maybe.
I mean,
you ever had a hole in one? Maybe.
But there has to be intent that you were trying to get.
That's why I agree.
In the hole.
I agree.
It really doesn't count.
I agree.
There's no intent to get it in that hole.
Correct. But some people say, yes, you had a hole in one. And I'm saying, no, I don't count it.
I would say no. All right. You got to keep playing.
Okay.
Keep playing.
All right.
Okay. Favorite shore point?
Seattle City.
There you go. If you could teach about any historical figure, because you taught history, right?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. If you could teach about any historical figure in a history class, who would it be?
I'm fascinated with Frederick Douglass.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I love there's a biography just came out just a few years ago. Yeah, just a fascinating character. Love teaching his story as a young boy, how he was taught to read, and then he turned out to be one of the greatest speakers in our country's history.
Mhm.
Such an amazing orator, and what he did. So he's fascinating to me.
Okay.
I love.
I
teaching.
always love to hear history teachers teach their passion because it's actually really any teacher teaching about something that they're passionate about. And I loved history too. It was like my favorite thing. So it's just, I love it because it's just so exciting. You can like feel it, you can see it. And then you're like, oh yeah, I never would have picked Frederick Douglass to ever even try and find out 10 more things about him.
Right.
Now I'm kind of like, oh, that might be worth my while. Maybe there's a podcast out there about Frederick Douglass. All right. Okay. Go-to song. What's your favorite song?
Favorite song?
Yes. Favorite song.
It's impossible.
All right. Let's just put it in the all right.
Well, I'll say with his passing to this summer, Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys, God Only Knows, I think is one of the most beautiful songs ever. I mean, a lot of people think that too, but
no one has ever said that to me.
Yeah,
I like
God
that.
Only Knows.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
All right. Catholic League rival.
St. Joe's Prep.
Really? Okay. Prep.
I was a pretty good soccer player. I played golf. I was a pretty good soccer player, and we couldn't beat the Prep. We went to the final. Back then we had the Southern Division, Northern Division. So we went to the Southern Division final 2 out of my 3 years. Yeah, sophomore and senior year. And we just couldn't, we went to overtime. We just could not beat them. So yeah, the Prep is, for me, the Prep.
Favorite memory from your own time as a Catholic student, like a Catholic grade school or high school, whatever. Favorite memory.
I was very fortunate.
Keep it clean. I know you Bonner boys have a lot of memories about something,
No, I was fortunate. I was able to, I spoke at our graduation. I was salutatorian.
Oh.
And that was like it was a cool moment. Part of the theme in my speech had to do with a candle and the flame and I had like a prop. I had the candle on stage. And we never practiced lighting the candle, so it was too high, and so it was bad. So someone, everybody was ready, but it was whatever it was. I didn't have.
Oh, right.
So I didn't have enough. We didn't have something to light it, so I had to. It was a little bit of a scene for a few minutes. It was really awkward, and we got help. I got help with that, so that moment was pretty cool.
All right, that's awesome.
Represent the school.
I like that. That's really cool. That was good. Favorite Catholic hymn.
Catholic hymn?
Mm-hmm. Favorite Catholic song?
There's an Alleluia that that this group called Catholic Community Choir does.
Oh yeah,
it's a version of it. I don't know the name of it. It's it's a soulful version of Alleluia. I have to get the name. It's like it's chilling. Like it brings.
Well, if there's a recording of it, you think it's on YouTube?
Probably.
If you get it, I'll look for it too. But if we can link it.
Okay.
In the show notes, and then everybody else can hear it.
Yes.
Yeah, Jeff Brackenier is a good. He's heads the CCC, right? Yeah.
Yeah. My sister works for them now. She's
okay.
Yeah, we're closely tied. He's great.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So we do a principals retreat. We do a principals retreat, but we also do a professional development. Our the ESAA. I'm embarrassing myself that I don't know what that acronym means, but it's like the administrators, elementary principals, basically. And we go to Cape May in October.
I've heard about that.
It's so fun.
I'm gonna get to go to that.
Yes, you are going to get to go. And it's really, really fun. We have a really good time. A lot of good work is done there. It ends with the morning of a retreat. So it's good. And Jeff Brackenier comes and does the music.
Got it.
For the
He
bands.
has told me that. Now that you mentioned that, he has talked about that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Put it on your calendar.
I will.
I will get the dates for you. And I'm going to get annihilated.
Rose already did. I think.
Oh, good. I'm sure she did.
Okay.
She's very good with details.
Yes.
Margaret Rose. We love her. She keeps us on track.
Right.
Okay. What's one snack food you have to have?
Potato chips.
Okay. What kind?
My
Can't
favorite,
be any potato chip.
The hers kettle cooked russet, the dark russet. I love them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Thanks.
If anybody wants to bring you a little snack, that's what he likes.
Not too much though. I know they're not.
No, but they keep well.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. If you could have dinner with any famous person, who would it be? Don't say Frederick Douglass. You got to go with someone else.
So I'm gonna go back to music though. Sly Stone. I'm a huge Sly in the Family.
Oh
So
yeah.
I would love to be able to like just hear about like the things that he had in his mind that became this amazing, jazz, funk, rock
Mhm.
music. So yeah, I would love to have dinner with
All right,
Sly
cool.
Stone.
Favorite children's book?
Pinkalicious.
Oh, I like that one. All right. Favorite Catholic school tradition?
Oh, the Bonner Prendy. They have to with the baccalaureate mass.
Oh yeah.
You know, although I can now that I have a daughter who just graduated from O'Hara, when they go to the fountain after their baccalaureate,
Oh yeah, but that wasn't yours.
I
That
know,
was not yours.
right? Well, neither was the Bonner Prendy. I'm saying was really me as a teacher too,
Oh well,
right?
they combined them.
They did.
They did.
That's right.
They combined
Yeah.
the baccalaureate mass now.
I don't know. I'm not giving a great answer.
That's all right. How about grade school? Like, what did you, something from grade school?
Traditional
Yeah, like
May procession.
See, there you
May
go. I
procession,
knew I
of
could
course.
get
Okay.
it out of you.
Right.
The
I
May
have-
procession.
My children went to St. Anastasia, so I should remember these traditions.
Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. Okay, and if you were not an educator, what career would you have pursued?
I loved the golf industry. I grew up,
be a
I was a
golf-
caddy and I worked at a golf course while I was a teacher. So I probably would have pursued a career in the golf service industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you a morning person or a night owl?
More of a morning person.
Okay. And then last but not least, we end every holy hot seat with favorite cheesesteak place.
Larry's.
All right.
54th and City.
Larry's
St. Joe's.
right by St. Joe's.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Chris. Well, I'm going to ask you one more question and then we'll kind of re-wrap it up. But this is like the Graces of Catholic Education signature question.
Uh-oh.
Everybody gets this question on the show. Okay?
Okay.
So if you could whisper one piece of advice to every Catholic educator before they step into their classrooms each day that would help them shape future saints, what would it be?
Love yourself first. Take care of yourself, because once that's in place, then you can take care of the students you serve.
There you go. Perfect. All right. I always say I'm going to write a book about those signature questions now
that's
that
great. Yeah.
it's going to be like a little,
Yeah.
it'll be really cool. I need to do
I love that.
a couple
We're
more
going to have it all
podcasts.
recorded, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I have it all recorded. Well, again, I just want to wrap up by saying thank you so much. I know you're really busy. You just started here, but you took the time. I think it'll be good for your community to hear you and to get to know you. And
You're welcome. And I agree. Thank you, because I think this is a great way for me to communicate with a lot of people. I mean, I still can't wait to meet with people one-on-one.
Yeah.
But this is a chance for anybody to see and hear a little bit about me.
Yeah,
whenever
exactly. And I know they're gonna embrace you. Like when I found out you were applying for a job in elementary, I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Thank
He
you.
is a guy that I know is gonna the future is bright for St. Dominic's too, because you're leading the helm here.
One of the things that I learned that I've realized over the last couple of years, both being at Bonner Prendy, being involved in the golf world as well. I caddied last summer as well. There are a lot of very generous, wealthy people who believe in Catholic education.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
And it was something I was just not aware of or paying attention to before coming back to the Archdiocese. And so I'm excited to meet them, talk more about, what's their vision? How do they see their resources, their money? How do they believe they can do good with it? And so I'm excited about that.
Well, I have a great connection for you. I can get you in touch with the Ambassadors Fund and the Connolly
Love it.
Foundation and the Foundation for Catholic Education, because all of those are exactly that. They're just very philanthropic people who love Catholic education. I was just on the phone with Andrew McCluskey yesterday. He's now funded 3 grants that the Office of Catholic Education has kind of put in, and the Ambassadors Fund has funded them, thankfully. One is new teacher formation. One is about universal design for learning, and he's funding curriculum work. He is the Ambassadors Fund, and he is funding great the Ambassadors Fund's giving us a lot of the grants that we've put in. So they are all those foundations that are so in support of Catholic education. They're all going to be guests on the
great.
podcast. Yeah.
Then connect me with them as well.
I will.
Yeah,
I definitely will.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
The potential there to build new relationships and to also see what kind of resources we can bring to St. Dominic.
Yeah, there you go. All right. I love it. All right. So we're going to end with, we just end with a prayer. And I say
Great.
to all our Philly faithful listeners, may God's grace fill you with the courage to stay faithful, to stay fearless, and as always, stay Philly. See you on the next podcast. God bless.